All right, welcome back. Well, Sunny, tell us a little bit about our guest.
Well, we have the pleasure of having Chris Heller, hat designer, local LA designer here in Los Angeles. I've been fortunate enough to carry a few of his hats in my boutique shop at LA Syndicate. Really fantastic work. A true artisan.
Thank you.
He does amazing work. We'll go through the process of how you work and some of the tools you use. You do all the molding yourself.
That's crazy.
Pretty exquisite work. I mean,
Thank you
it's
very
rare
much.
today to have hat designers, that I know. I don't know many.
Yeah.
You're probably the 1%.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Glad to be
Thanks
here
for being
guys.
with us, man.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Thank you. So let's talk about your history and when you got into the hat thing and what year was it?
Yeah, I won't go back too far, but I think I've been making hats for about, I'd say like seriously, probably it started in about 2018,
Okay.
So I think I started teaching myself how to do it in about like late 2016, got better 2017, and then, and then I think, I don't know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably have that experience of where you make something and then like somebody says they want to buy it and you're kind of caught off guard and, a little blown away, and then you do that and then motivates you to make another one. You kind of keep making them, and then it's slowly
You keep
just
feeding
turned.
it.
Yeah. There was no it was a business before there was a logo. It was a business before I had packaging.
Can I ask what was like? I want to make a hat. Like, what were you making before that? What it's not a natural sec. Like people want to make jewelry, people want to make clothes, but that's a very specific.
The short answer is I fell in love with a hat that I couldn't afford.
Okay.
And I was a little bitter about it. And so, bitched for a second, and then decided I'll make one. And so I went pretty old school with it. I went to the library and got
nice.
more encyclopedic style books,
Yeah.
the ones that are more diagrams and that's easier for me to digest. And so did that, and then, watched a couple videos, but, then I ended up making, into tools, one of the main tools is the hat block.
Yep.
Which is just it's a wood block with general size that you start with, and so I made one out of a tree trunk in my parents' backyard, and then just sat there with it was like a little tree trunk, and I sat there with a metal grinder and a sander and just went to town on it for like a day and a half until it was like an oval, and I still have it, still at my parents' house. And so I used that with hats from Goodwill, shit hats, and then just practice and then kind of get that muscle memory going.
Yeah.
Until I found a felt, actually got a proper felt, tried it out, made one that was, hat-like. And then, I finally made one that I was, I'll wear this in public,
Yeah.
And then once it got to that point, then it was sort of just, with most things, once you learn the basics, then you can step back and get creative.
Sure.
You learn to drive, then you can,
Drive crazy.
then you can bust it. Yeah, donut. Then you stop thinking about driving, you just sort of do it.
Well, your technique is pretty impressive. You've gone, I think from what I know, not all hat makers are carving and burning into the hat, creating, these beautiful images. You've gone the next step, which I think people really are excited about. When they see it, they're like, whoa, who's this? Right?
Thanks.
Next level. You've taken it to the next tier.
Yeah, I guess that is that's kind of what I just started doing. It was sort of like a no mistake policy. It was like if I'd start doing something and then, that line's not proper, it was just sort of an invitation to do something else.
Yep.
And then so it kind of developed or sort of, evolved from that, I guess. But and I think it's just me not really liking just having a difficult time just sticking on, one thing. I've never, when I was making clothes and doing that sort of thing, I never did lines of clothing. I would just do custom stuff. I would do pieces. And so that works better for me. I can develop a relationship with the client, we can talk, I hope they can come by. If they can't, we do virtually, which is why I can work with people over the world. And it's that intimate thing that you kind of create you get the story, you create something for them. And you got to think out the box, to make it, as good as possible. And so, fire and knives have been at the center of a lot of my success, I think.
I think, well, watching it on Instagram, you really go through the process and all the levels that you've, had to take to create this hat. You pick some great colors. First off, the colors you choose are fantastic.
Yeah, dyeing this stuff is so much fun. It's
oh man.
Oh, you dye your own hats.
Yeah, so everything I do, if it's a color, unless it's a very, static, basic color, which some people want, rad. But yeah, dyeing it is so cool because you can make it so it has a lot of movement to it. So it's a lot of shades of a color. But it also requires you to, it's a process. You got to dye it, then it dries, then I burn it, then I sand it, and then again.
Yeah.
Because if you do, a purple on top of something else, like it's just one color at that point. But yeah, so that's, and it just offers up a lot more, I don't know, options. It's just more fun. Yeah. And you can leave negative space, and you can do a whole lot of stuff with it. It's just, more interesting, and just, keeps, and then everybody's shit is going to be different. As much as like I try to make it the same thing, like it's always going to be different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're wearing one of your hats, obviously. And you
this thing is,
this is great.
This is like the,
that's great.
This is like my doodle pad. Like this is something that I just burn things into when I'm feeling it. But it is also, it is beyond age, dude. This thing is like, it's falling apart.
I love it.
Which is why I'm gonna wear it till the wheels fall, all the way off.
That's
like
they're definitely flat.
Right there. But they're still like on the car. It's just like the rim is showing a bit, and like kind of fucked up. But this is the one. It's become. I mean, I have like 50 hats on my wall, probably.
Sure.
Half of them are in my size. I leave the house. If I put another one on, and I walk out the door, there is a good chance I'll stop about 50 feet away, turn around, and go back and put this one on. Like
it's probably molded.
If I'm skateboarding, if I'm doing something, it is. People ask all the time, like, how come your hat doesn't fall off? It's like, well, it's meant for my head first of all. Like, that's the thing about a custom hat; it's shaped to your head, so it fits properly.
So what's the actual process? So just say I want a hat, right? Mm-hmm. From the moment I meet you to I'm taking home my hat.
Yeah. So it really comes down, if you can come in, that's always the best. Some people see something I've made and they're like, I want that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But typically, even if it starts like that, they end up we'll have a chat and they'll get some ideas and it's constantly evolving.
Sure.
But you would basically, if you could come in, it would kind of sit down. There's the basics of measuring your head. Then I have a tool that gets the shape of your head, right? Because the measurement is one thing. Yeah. If you have a 22-inch head, if your head's round, or if it's oval, those inches and those, the measurements are in different spots, right? And so, I have a tool that gets the shape, so the contours of your head. And then you would come in, we'd do that. We'd discuss all the details and all of that. And then, sometimes it can be like a half hour if they got something to do. It can be 2.5 hours, Sometimes they'll bring kids with them and they're just running around playing with the dog and doing things. And it's my favorite thing about what I do is that connection with people. It is so much fun.
It's so personal, but that's not normal.
No, it's a cool, it is. It's something that I've realized I need in order to continue to do it,
That's great.
Because sometimes I do get stuck in my own thing by myself, just working. Yeah. And I do feel that motivation, it's harder to keep going, at times, but yeah, I love what I do. And so you would do that, and then I would shape it, get the foundation, and then we would be in contact, throughout basically to show you where I'm at with it. If you have ideas, if you like the shade, if you want darker, so we do that until the end, and then you get a hat.
You're customizing all the way through.
Yeah.
So that leads me to the next question. How long does it take typically for you to customize a hat? And you could get a roundabout, but
anywhere between. I can make a hat in a week.
Okay.
You've got to let it dry. But that is the most basic of basic.
Okay. Yeah.
And I always tell people, part of the time is going to be coming up with the idea, the actual physical design of what you've kind of you gave me a list of, you got horseshoes to bunny, rabbits, and you love, going to Montana and fishing. That's and all of these things. And then, how do I make something cohesive that's not obnoxious, I guess?
Sure.
Which, to some people, some designs might be, but it's theirs and they love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so,
it's personalized.
So it can be anywhere between 3 weeks would be the shortest I would say to be able to make it comfortably. Yeah. To about, some have taken 4 or 5 months,
I can imagine,
something like that, 6 months.
With the amount of detail that you're discussing and
And then some it is just the drying, all of that. It takes, time.
It's a lot of work. So recently I saw something on your Instagram with, I think it was a palm tree. No, not palm tree. Pardon me. A pine tree, right? You did a tree recently on the top of the hat. Was that someone from Montana?
Yeah, actually, it is. Yeah.
It is, okay.
Yeah, it is. That's for, super, super cool person. And her and her husband have been amazing clients for a while. Yeah, and yeah, they're just, I mean, they are just the perfect example of who I absolutely love to work with. You know, like they've got great ideas. They give me enough space to do my thing.
Sure.
You know, patient, but also excited, you know, to get it. You know, it's that perfect blend of just like, yeah, and they're solid people.
No, it's great. So that one stood out. Well, they all stand out. They're all great.
Yeah, I definitely admire your hats whenever I go.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. I love the idea of a hat.
Right?
But
I can't wear hats.
That's bullshit.
I can't wear hats. You look fantastic in
Yo,
hats.
everybody that says that, if they end up over at my place, like, because it's not about that. And first of all, I don't see how you can say that. You're like the perfect dude for a hat.
Yeah.
With the cutoffs and the cool guy look.
I feel like you would belong
You
in a hat.
absolutely. And you know what the reason is? You've got more.
I haven't come to Chris Heller's house.
Like, I don't know how, if you got a big head, but you've got more of a square kind of thing. So a lot of hats probably feel maybe a little tight on the sides.
Right.
You go to a store, they're all oval, right?
Yeah.
So if you have anything different, it doesn't fit properly. And so if it doesn't fit properly, it's not going to look good. Like, it's a whole, and it'll feel good. You know, the confidence isn't there. So you just got to have something that fits your head.
You could rock a hat.
Having a hat to put on in the morning, you don't feel like doing your hair is just...
That's why I wore these glasses. They're no longer sunglasses.
True.
These are accessories for my hair. It's a hair band.
Oh, it's just a little hair pull.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, that looks cool at least, I think.
Yeah, no, you could absolutely rock a hat.
Well, I'm coming over, Chris, and so get ready.
Thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's make it happen. I'm ready.
So we were casually just talking earlier, and you said you had a fascination with rugs.
Yeah, I love rugs.
So
I do. I love a good rug. And the reason that got brought up is the rug on the floor right now is, first of all, it's a big ass rug, and I like a really big rug in the middle, and then like little ones, you know, around it. And so I don't know. It was the place I live in now. It was the first spot that had enough floor space to really appreciate a good rug.
Yeah.
And then I realized I can appreciate 5 rugs, you know. And so, but the trick is making sure they all kind of they work off of each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, Big Lebowski did say it, you know, probably like it does really bring the room together. Like
and
it's comfortable on your feet. It's fun. I don't know. I like a good rug. So yeah, I suggest anybody out there invest in a rug. And you don't even have to pay that much. Like, it's not you got to get the fanciest of rugs.
When Diana mentioned she has a rug that is ready to go out the door too. So let's talk about your rug.
Yeah.
No, we don't have to talk about it. This is an art night podcast. We don't have to talk about my rug. But no, I was just what caught me about the conversation. The reason I brought it up is that it's your viewpoint of all of these things being like an artistic thing, you know, like
colors are important,
and admiring the beauty of these things that we walk on and like don't, you know, like. The average person's like, whatever, like I'm just...
Oh, yeah. And colors are... I used to, when I was like doing bow ties back in the day, and to come up with like ideas and stuff, I would just kind of throw a bunch of different stuff on the ground.
Yeah.
And just like sit back and just look at the pile of things. And before you know it, your eyes do sort of kind of go to, you know, and you're like, oh, that shit's dope. And then you kind of just give it a go. And then, you know, 90% of the time, like, it's going to be all right. And so that's, I just have a big... I like colors, I like textures, I like, I mean, lots of people do. I'm nothing special in that area. I just really dig it. It's cool.
So wait, did you say you were creating and making bow ties?
Oh, yeah, that's where shit started.
This is important.
Oh, I was teaching preschool. And
okay, let's go back there. Let's go back.
Before that, sushi chef, behavioral therapist. So I've had jobs. Phlebotomist, like it's been a whole run. But yeah, I was teaching preschool, and all right, Leah, this is the quick little story. I was teaching preschool. It was Christmas. Didn't know what to get anybody. You know, not super. You know, finances were. I had to work on those boys, but had like 15, 20 people to get gifts for, and just couldn't decide what it was. And then one day I was going by American Apparel and saw those circle scarves, and I was like, "Oh, sick! Everybody gets a scarf." I go inside and I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like $30 a scarf is, you know, when you're hitting like 15 of them.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Fuck," you know, a little bummed out. And I was like. Looking at it, I was like, man, I could make this. Kind of just joking. I'd never made a thing in my life. I'd never sewn before in my life. But just kind of stuck with me, and so I decided to. And so I borrowed a sewing machine from my mom, went to like Joann's, bought a bunch of like fabric.
Sure.
Went home, and I watched YouTube until I could figure out how to like do a straight line. And then through osmosis from watching my mom, because she's incredible. She can do kind of just about anything. I'm sure I got some of that. But yeah, I used like YouTube and just kept sewing in. All it is straight lines to make these things, right?
Right.
Made like 15 of them, brought those things to school, passed them out, and people were just like blown away. And it's really easy to make, you know, but it was just this like, holy shit. And from that day on, I fell in love with sewing. Like I loved
That's
sewing,
so cool.
and I started
Yeah.
just going and getting things. I would just rip stuff apart,
Yeah.
you know, like shirts and stuff. My room, I was still like in a home. My room was just like a graveyard of like half-made shit.
Yeah.
You know, like a sleeve here, like a
Yeah.
pant leg there.
That's
And
great.
then one day I made a bow tie, and kind of I kept making them. It was sort of fun because these little like just little thing, you know,
Yeah.
it's all a little tightly packed, just.
Yeah.
And so I made one, and then the preschool I was working at the time, there was a stylist there who was a stylist for a pretty big, very big artist. And she kind of just said, like, oh, they have a music video coming up. Would you want to make some bow ties for the scene? And I was like, holy shit. Like, I've been
Nice.
sewing for like 3 months.
Yeah.
You know? And so I was like, yeah. So I did this, made it. And it's pretty wild. Like, kind of forgot about the video. You know, after this happened, I didn't really kind of follow up. I was excited that this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was on a flight to Vegas, on a flight on like a Virgin flight, and
Love Virgin.
was on it. I looked up. Swear to God, the video just happened to be playing, and I look up. I'm like, oh shit! And I look. I'm like, oh, and I could see it, and it was there.
Yeah.
And it's like
Nice.
it's one of the biggest. Yeah, like can you say things like like a Taylor Swift video, like.
Oh, okay.
It was just, but
Oh,
it was
wow.
like, but
That
and
level,
so this
yeah.
is the most important part from it all. But this is everything: is that none of that. It was such an amazing opportunity, right?
Yeah, of course.
Not a single thing from that did anything for my trajectory in terms of like notoriety, people coming at. It's a bow tie, dude.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
a split second, you know. So nothing from that. What it did do though was for me to kind of step back and realize, like, holy shit, like so many people would want to be my spot, for just to have something in something like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It gave me a little bit of confidence to just kind of keep doing it.
Yeah.
And from then on, I just kept going, and bow ties became my thing. I started doing most of the accessories for Dance with the Stars and American Idol.
Oh, wow.
And that was
Cool.
just a little while after. And then from there, I started working with Mark Ballas, who's just incredible dancer, incredible musician, super cool dude. And then he gave me the opportunity to help out with music videos
Yeah.
and doing that. And so it all kind of just one after another kind of just started going, and then met like another dude who became kind of like mentor in the sewing area. So then I went on to clothing, and then I started making a bunch of overalls, and overalls became my thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love overalls. I still make overalls all the time.
Overalls are great.
They're
yeah.
so good. Then
Yeah.
you pull them down, you give them the old tie around the waist. It's a different outfit. Like I'll show you.
Yeah.
Like this, there's a lot you can do with
It's a
overalls.
two-parter.
Yeah, and this is from a while back.
Yeah.
Overalls then became super hot.
I think it's so
I was just a
cool
little bit
that
early.
you just like fully dedicate yourself to these things, you know, like
Yeah, it's
like,
risky, but it's
yeah, like I have a sewing machine that it's still in its box.
Oh.
you know, like
Yeah. Oh shit, I gotta.
because I was
yeah.
like, I'm
come on,
gonna
dude.
sew, and
Yep.
then I was like,
But
I'll
it
just put
is
it
one
here.
of those things
Yeah.
though. Like unless you have that extra little something there that makes you want to keep doing it, like
Yeah.
it's a tool. You know, like
Yeah.
the sewing machine is just a tool to fix some stuff. Like it's
Right.
there.
Right.
Or it's like an instrument. Like, and it's the most amazing thing you can like. I love like, and then different kinds of sewing machines do different things. Then you just really, once you get comfy, it's creative, and then it's not so much
Just going to town.
A to B. It's just like, what can I do?
Yeah.
And so yeah, and it was all new, and it's still it's. I love that I taught myself how to sew. And it's sort of like hats where I taught myself, so my style's a little different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
But, yeah.
do you have dead stock of these bow ties lying around?
yeah.
Oh, really? I may need a bow tie.
You're
Bro.
gonna need a hat and a
Hat and
bow
a
tie.
Hat and a bow
tie,
tie.
yeah.
It's, gonna
Who
it's a
is-
wild combo.
That's the kind of thing
I
you've
don't-
got to work out properly
That's
because
a wild
it's a
combo.
it's a
I don't
lot.
know.
Like,
It's a lot
No, no,
easier.
I wouldn't do all this.
Like
yeah.
I don't even do like sometimes like sunglasses and a hat. Like,
Right,
like I
right.
feel like that's a lot, you know. So, but yeah, bow tie and
Yeah.
a hat, it can be super sick, you know. But then you got like, it's kind of like that dandy look, you know.
It's very dandy,
Yeah.
yeah.
that like, which is if you can pull it,
Yeah.
classy. But
First off, you look great in hats. So
Oh.
you are the perfect
We're gonna
model.
get you in.
It's
one.
just that
You're really
it's just
great.
that you can't recognize me without one, probably. So
True.
you don't really know if I look good. I might just be a super stud without a hat, and then I'm just fucking it all up. But
No.
but whatever
Far,
we're working
far
with,
from
like
it.
I'm good. So yeah, and it is. It's yeah, it's part of my my thing. Like
I need to
it's-
come up still.
You got to come up.
I know.
It's insane.
We
You
keep
literally
saying
are
it.
downstairs all the time. You haven't come up.
I'm
Where are
coming
you
up soon.
located?
I'm on 6th and Main.
Are you like in a studio? Is this?
Yeah,
where you work
and
out
it's
of?
I do everything by appointment.
Okay.
And so it just keeps it so yeah, it can be an hour, it can be 2, it can be
Yeah.
whatever, and then yeah, it's it's I love the spot,
Mm-hmm.
and it's worked out really well.
Well, we're working on a few things. There's
Yeah,
some
and we've got some
potential-
ideas. Yeah, that spot's sick
Bow
too.
ties and hats.
Bow ties and hats.
Shit, if It's an insane, for anybody out there who wants to get involved in like bow ties and take it to a business level, I can do everything for you if you do the like just make it into a business.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. So I did weddings became like my bread and butter.
Sure.
Oh,
Because
really? Wow.
and the thing is I did it just like I do hats. I would sit down with, the groom and the bride.
Oh, nice.
And we would talk it out. And it would always start the same way where the groom would look at the bride and be like, "Yo, what do you think?" And then she'd be like, and I would say like, "No, dude, like," and then after a little bit, just a little talk, ideas started coming, and then like by the end, they're like, "What about suspenders?" And I'm like,
oh.
And then like they get excited about the process, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a little intimidating at first.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're just kind of comfy and you're talking about things that you weren't before. And so, yeah, doing that that was a great transition into what I do now. And
so, like I said earlier, you are a true artisan, and having someone like yourself available to the public if they decide to come to you, it's so rare. It's so rare to have the personal levels that you give creating these masterpieces, and they truly are.
Yeah.
You're aging them beautifully. If you're doing these bow ties as well.
I mean, this one has aged naturally.
I know. Oh, yeah, no,
this baby's.
it's like shirt makers like in London.
Oh yeah.
You have tailored shirt makers in London. We don't have those specific.
Yeah.
They're here.
Yeah, they're here.
Hidden gems, but
and LA
you
does
don't
have a
run
lot
into
of those
them.
hidden boys. But yeah, you got to look into it. You got to find it. You got to maybe get a little hint from somebody else.
Correct. So,
but yeah,
you're the rare
that
one.
shirt though does feel good.
I love
it
it.
made for you. But yeah, no, I'm open to everybody. Anybody's allowed to come over.
I love
I got
it.
a great dog. He's cool.
And you have a great dog. Yes.
Yeah, Charlie, the man of the hour.
The sweetest pup.
Charlie's the coolest guy in town.
Yeah, there's so many like hidden spots in downtown. So something that we are working on, which I guess we're gonna announce, we are working on getting a fashion night similar to art night.
That would be sick.
And because there's so many spots like yours that unless you have visibility to it, like I wouldn't know how to find it, and so we want to highlight those businesses. But, you were talking about like living downtown and all these businesses that were like come and gone. And, I mean,
it is tough to have a brick and mortar street level spot right now, especially if you're trying to get into it the way that like I do my stuff. Like it's not taking, money from somebody to, open it up to just be my own thing down there. And I've realized too that I don't need that necessarily, but it is that exposure that you don't get, like just people walking by and that kind of thing. But there is something to be said about hidden gems there that you get to kind of find and experience. And it is just like people like, you guys that spread the word is what, because I know so many people that make amazing things that like myself aren't the best at like being outspoken, and going out there to advertise and to market yourself. But I always say like if I'm there and I'm talking to somebody, I'm all in. I'm great at it. But when I'm home or if I'm just working, that's what I'm doing. I don't. My social media I just post something. I kind of get out. So I don't like.
I do have a question. Do you create all of your own reels?
Yeah,
because they're really nice.
Thanks.
They're so well
I do
done.
everything on my own.
They're really nice.
Yeah,
I get fixated on them. Wow.
It's
a nice process.
It all came out of necessity. Was like at first when I would make clothes or bow ties or whatever it was, I would just have my camera, regular ass camera with me with a tripod all the time.
Yeah.
And if I saw, and I think it's like part of where my like obsession with like textures and that kind of thing is that if I saw a cool wall, a bridge, railroad tracks, like if you go way back in my Instagram, like you'll see I'm all over the place. But it was just that I would set up my tripod, I would be the dork, people walking by just doing it myself and like But through that I learned kind of the like using what I have to get the light right, to get the it's basic stuff that you learn for yourself if you're doing it all the time.
Right.
And so that's sort of where it developed, was just like starting with shooting myself outside, and then once I got inside, you learn the pockets, of where you're working and sort of what you want to capture. And I'm still trying to get better, and with that all is the motivation to do it.
Right.
Because there is a part of it where it feels like it just sometimes it slows down the process, the creative process, where like if you're constantly thinking about the angle of the shot or whatever it is, like that's what I'm thinking about, and I know that I am better at what I do when I'm not thinking about shooting myself, or like stopping.
You're keeping it raw. You're keeping it real.
I'm just like in such a flow when I'm doing it that, and so I've been trying over the past while to just get a setup so I don't have to do that. It kind of captures it, but I'm still doing it the same as I was before. And
So how many tripods do you have in your home?
oh, dude, I'm working with like 1.5.
Are you?
Yeah, dude.
Wait, you don't have them set up like
No.
here?
Oh,
Like, I'm
God.
going to put this
No, I
here
wish.
in front of my hat
No.
holder. and-
I
Okay.
have one tripod that is solid, that works.
Yeah.
That
That
we-
actually works.
A good $40
That we were talking
tripod.
about, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a good $35, $40 one. Then I have like 3 others that I just keep around in case I might need that part from it or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I've got like a phone holder, and it's just, yeah, it is. It's one of those things. If I just stop for a day,
Yeah.
go and do it, but it works, and that's part of the. I think that's part of the charm. It is what I have, and I love working with what I've got. It works fine. It's not like it
Yeah.
slows me down that much. It's just, yeah, I just.
Well, it
it's
looks
a
great.
it's a method to the madness, and it's yeah, it is what it is, and
Yeah, I think it's important that people get to see your life too,
Yeah.
like and like the process, and I think that's what makes people really connect too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Chris,
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank
Great
you
to
for
talk
your
to
time.
you.
Wait, what's your Instagram?
My Instagram is Christopher J. Heller. And do I have anything else? Oh, I guess I have a TikTok too.
Nope.
TikTok too. Yeah, that's all same exact thing.
Christopher J. Heller.
Just Christopher J. Heller. Website too, christopherheller.com.
It'll flash across here.
Yeah. Oh. So yeah, that's it. Christopher J. Heller.
Any
Cool.
other plugs? Anything else you're doing event-wise or?
No events. Yeah. Vote for Kamala.
That's it? All right, fantastic.
Very cool.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. This has been great.
Yeah,
Yay.
really enjoyed it.
I
Thank
learned
you.
another
Thank you.
side or 10 new sides of Chris.
Yeah,
So,
and there's a
thank
few
you for
more.
sharing.
Yeah.
Right on.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, remember our tag. Come back and check us out next week. We'll be on another Artcast. We'll be having the next guest and
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, come and check us out next month. We'll have another guest from the local downtown art community. And Art Night is September 5th, so we will see you all there.